Muchachos y muchachas. So a few months have transcended since the whole Balenciaga scandal, fiasco, debauchery, and I cannot take my eyes off of it. So if you guys don't remember, or if you need a refresher or don't know at all, back during the holidays, I remember it was coming up on Thanksgiving, Balenciaga actually launched their holiday campaign called the Gifting Collection. And the photo shoot for this collection was very troubling because they utilized children. Actually, it was two photo shoots. Okay, let me clarify. There was one photo shoot that had child models. They were posed in now looking back with everything that we found out, very inappropriately, posing with very inappropriate items, including infamous bears that were dressed up in this fringe lifestyle type of gear that happens behind closed doors for some people. And, they had things like harnesses and girders and fishnets and things like this. Now, it wasn't just that was bad enough, but it was the adult items that were surrounding these children, such as empty wine glasses, empty beer glasses. And even, I think looking back now with what we're going to explore in this video, the dog bowls and the dog tags and all of that even seem a bit questionable to this day. So, ever since then, we've done a lot of exploration because that's all we had. We had context clues to go by. We didn't really have a good explanation for all of this. I mean, Balenciaga and the people surrounding them, Cédric Charbit, 𝘠𝘓𝘍𝑒𝘍 𝘠𝘍𝘍, who was like one of the key characters in our, rabbit hole. They put out statements that had lackluster responses that really didn't give us much more answers than we did have questions. And ever since then, it's only led us to just explore on our own. And that's what happened. Internet sleuths came together. They started digging on these people and the, collaborators that they've worked with in the past. And the stuff that was found painted an even more sinister picture. I forgot to mention in the other photo shoot, it was in an office setting, full-grown adults as the models, but it was the documentation that was found under accessories, in books in the background that, if you guys have a video on it, if you want to go explore that, I would welcome you to if you want a refresher. So anyway, transcending through, we were so hyper-focused on finding out who these people are and what they're into that we were just focused on Balenciaga. But like I said, I cannot take my eyes off of this. We didn't look closely at Vetements, which is 𝘠𝘓𝘍𝑒𝘍 𝘠𝘓𝘍 first brand. And as I explored through this rabbit hole, I found, okay, these people are into a certain lifestyle that should never be within a centimeter towards children at all. Okay. The dark arts that they're into, the people that they're surrounding themselves with, the content that they put out, I found more. And so that's what we're going to explore today, looking a little closer at Vetements and the people that they're surrounded by. So, take a deep breath because it's pretty gritty. Hold on to your butts, secure your wigs, stay right there. We're going to go through it. Really quick, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this video, Freshology. So if you feel like you have that dreaded holiday weight and not enough time to rid of it, you're not alone. Holiday weight is so common that that's really one of the most common New Year's resolutions. The most effective way to help you lose that dreaded holiday weight quicker is to save time on cooking and eat healthier with Freshology. Freshology delivers chef-prepared, healthy meals straight to your doorstep every week. No more stressful planning, preparing, or time-wasted shopping. Just choose from one of Freshology's award-winning menus and customize a plan to fit your taste and lifestyle. Save over 50% on these chef-prepared and healthy meals simply by going to freshwithnatalie.com. That's freshwithnatalie.com. You can also visit the link that I've posted in my description below. So before there was Balenciaga, there was Vetements. 𝘠𝘓𝘍𝑒𝘍 𝘠𝘓𝘍𝘢, who is once again the current day creative director of Balenciaga and was one of the characters at the center of the firestorm back during the holidays. He actually embarked with his own clothing brand back in 2014, where he started this brand with his brother 𝘠𝘠𝘮𝘠𝘬𝘮𝘪𝘁. Vetements was very, very successful after 3 short seasons. You guys may or may not know this, fun fact, but Kanye West was one of the first avid fans of Vetements, or at least we can say the first celebrity fan of Vetements, and he promoted them pretty often. I mean, he wore their hoodies pretty often. Anyway, so 2019 comes and 𝘠𝘠𝘮𝘠𝘠𝘬𝘮𝘪 actually takes on the role for creative director of Balenciaga and then passes the torch of Vetements over to his brother 𝘠𝘠𝘮𝘮𝘠𝘬𝘮. Now, before I proceed, I'd like to thank the collaborators for this piece. On Twitter, users Fashion Art Files and Matrix Means Womb. Thank you guys so much for your collaboration and your hard work and thinking power on this. So we're just going to dive right in. Let's take a look at some of the merch that Vetements actually designs. And as you can see, these are like pretty, I mean, I don't know. They look like just hoodies to me, graphic hoodies, but they sell astronomically high priced. And you can see here, there's already a theme that you can pick up on. It's very like satanic imagery, satanic sigils, such as the upside down pentagram. And, you can see that there are cryptic messages that are being written on these hoodies. And then they also collaborated with other brands. But one that actually caught my eye was this collaboration that they did with a designer by the name of Ruff Simons. And you can see that this theme of satanic sigil imagery repeats itself. Now, this was a design that they said that they had like a license to. I don't know if it's like it was a patent or what, but I don't know. It was a big deal for them. But anyway, we're going to go through the graphic, but you can see here that sigil, there's like a sigil in one of the styles at the bottom of it. Yeah. If you guys Google satanic sigils, you'll see this pop up along your search. Anyway, so let's talk about the graphic with the black block on it. That black block is a magnet. And so the magnet, when you peel it, it reveals a winkle. And I'm glad that it's pixelated. I mean, look, I just don't understand why are we parading genitalia so much on everything? Like, it's on walls, it's on paintings, it's on t-shirts, like there's not, it's to a point where sadly, it's not shocking anymore. And it's just gross. Like it's like a badge for your debauchery. Anyway, let me proceed and continue before I go off my soapbox. Now, Vetements had another project brewing, and it was held a secret up until its launch. And you can see here that they even launched an Instagram for it that was private. I don't know if it was always private, but when I checked, it was private. And it had, in my personal opinion, very few followers. It's about 1,600 around there. And I personally didn't know this, but the 𝘱𝑉𝑒𝑡𝑚NTS brothers created the 𝘱𝑉𝑒𝑡𝑚NTS Family Foundation. You can see in this article here by TFL, they actually announced this secret project and lift the lid. Here the headline reads, Vetements lifts the lid on its secret project, a new brand called VTMNTS. And here it describes what the brand is all about. And really, it's talking about, kind of going up against the grain of the fashion industry. And I'm just going to read a little snippet from the article here where it talks about it. Vetements lifted the veil and announced the heavily hyped secret project that it has been teasing since it announced last month that it would launch a new venture. Now, this article was written in 2021. In an interview last month, the Zurich, Switzerland headquartered company CEO 𝘠𝘠𝘮𝘠𝘠𝘬𝘮𝘪 told Vogue, "We're launching a new brand, or actually, it's not just one brand, it's the first milestone in the whole situation," he clarified, stating that he and his presumably brother, 𝘠𝘠𝘮𝘠𝘠𝘬𝘮, the creative director of Balenciaga and former creative chief of Vetements, created the 𝘱𝑉𝑒𝑡𝑚NTS Family Foundation, which will be a multi-dimensional platform for young talent that hopefully one day could replace the traditional conglomerate structure. If you ask me, to me, that says like we're going up against the traditional fashion industry. Although if we're talking about the traditional fashion industry here in 2023, you have probably noticed that they have been off their bunkers with their designs and their runway shows lately. Things that would be considered crazy in the past are just like kind of becoming the norm here. But anyway, in my personal opinion, I think by the type of designs that we saw with their hoodies, they're trying to create this like fringe lifestyle part of fashion in a way. So that to me is kind of a context clue for what we have seen and what we're going to see. And let me elaborate on that point a little further, because what I found is all publicly available information. This is on their public Instagram current day. But what I found was, for instance, they announced on Vetements_official on Instagram, their show in Paris, VTMNTS. And you can see here, there's like a dude who's like all bound with rope and with a barcode on his neck. That might be his regular tattoo. I don't know. But I mean, like, that's what I mean. This is such fringe, behind closed doors types of lifestyle. Why would you promote this as a norm and then act all shocked and appalled when people are calling you out about Balenciaga? Like, to me, this just appends to what we learned over the holidays about these people even more. Now, there's this graphic tee that I want to show you guys that they sold for $330, where it reads, "Warning, what you're about to witness will disturb you, even shock you. There is a dark side of humanity the censors won't let you see, but we will. View at your own risk." Now, I do want to note that 𝘏𝑗𝑗𝑗𝑗 actually did an interview with Purple magazine. I can't remember the year at the top of my head right now, but she actually was quoted saying something very similar, that she's always interested in the darker side of humanity. So to me, that kind of, it resonates with what we found about her on her Instagram and all that stuff, right? And once again, this is like the sub-fringe community, okay? It's not just fringe, it's like sub-fringe community that they're trying to normalize. And then here's another post where it's all pixelated, and this was by their own admission on Vetements Instagram, that Instagram took this down because I don't know if you can make through the pixelations, but it's two gentlemen doing things. I'm just going to say that. Use your imagination. But yeah, things like this are just put out in the open, and then these people were in charge of a photo shoot with children. You know what I mean? Like, once again, just appends and compounds to the original thought of how sinister all of this was. So moving further, which is why, they're like trying to make this whole 𝘱�ㄐ𝘗 foundation, and they want to promote young up and coming talent and all this. Now, I don't know what they mean by that. They might just mean that the young up and coming talent means like they haven't had experience in the industry, to be fair. But I wanted to just illustrate more for you how debaucherous their thinking and their culture and what they're into is. So Vetements then had another Instagram account called Vetements_uncensored. And this, to my knowledge, was always set on private. But as you can see there's 184,000 followers on this account. Now, this is how they advertised this account. It was on their main account, once again, where you can see a bunch of, we'll call them the rubbers. You can see a bunch of those, black and pink, and it says here in the caption, Vetements_uncensored. We will accept your request soon. After the access to Vetements_uncensored will be closed, and no new request will be accepted for indefinite period of time. Oh, you must request now if you're willing to enter. Tag Vetements_uncensored on your post to get featured. Follow the updates. Okay, so that actually, I read it a little bit closer this time, which is why they have so many followers, because it looks to be that it was opened up to the public. It was a public Instagram up until they closed it. And I'm pretty sure ever since the whole Balenciaga fiasco popped off, they're going to continue to leave this on private. Okay, because there were some posts that actually surfaced online. And this is the type of stuff that they would repost, right? Just like, you know, you see the very familiar black cloaked face mask or gimp mask, I guess we can say. There was another post with a person with what seems to be, you know, or kind of simulate blood in their mouth. And then another young lady with, and I don't mean young lady by, she's a minor. She's not. You can go to her Instagram. She was just dressed in orange peels. And then another tattoo artist, or I don't know if it's a tattooed artist, but this person had a tattoo under their chin that said Vetements, and kind of posed. I don't know if this is coincidental or intentional, but they were posed with like this overhead decor. I don't know how to describe this. That kind of looks like horns when they're looking up. And alternative fashion publications recognize this very provocative Instagram profile. It says here by, sorry, don't have the accent down, but 𝘏𝘏𝘏, where the title reads, Vetements Uncensored opens the most provocative account of the fashion system. And you'll see that this is where the information starts to zero in on characters that have very familiar names. It says here, Vetements, led by 𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠, and by the way, all of this, the Vetements Uncensored and the Instagrams and all that, I believe took place in 2020. So before they actually launched the secondary brand VTMNTS. So here it says, Vetements led by 𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠 and supported by the vision of stylist Lada Volkova, yes, that's another familiar name, opens a new social chapter with a super provocative platform. The private Instagram account that has definitely opened its doors is called Vetements_Uncensored. And so they talk about like, oh, they've run into problems with Instagram about posting this really provocative stuff, right? And, you know, these people try to normalize everything. I mean, there's such a big deal about, you know, the napples and stuff like that. So, yeah, because we don't want that out in the open. Children shouldn't be, children are on the internet now. You shouldn't be out in the open. Nobody wants to see that. So anyway, that was a feature, but I found that very interesting that in 2020, it was known by the at least alternative fashion community that 𝘠𝑚𝑛A and Lada Volkova were one of, you know, a flock of a feather. We'll just say that. So there's a little bit more additional evidence there. Okay, so continuing. Vetements created the VTMNTS brand, Vetements, and came out with a book called Vetements Uncensored. And this was a book, okay, if you guys have seen my Madonna video, you'll know that Madonna had this like book that she published in 1992 called SEX. And it was basically like, you know, debaucherous scenes. Like it was very, back in the 90s, like that stuff wasn't as often as we see it here in 2023. So it would have been shocking. But basically she's doing things with, everything you can imagine. And this is what this book really reminds me of. You see like, you know, topless chicks and making out with guys, but then you also see a lot of guys in jock straps, and that's it. Now, there was one particular post that caught my attention where this guy called the Only Sean Ford, he shouts out this man, Slava Magutin, for authoring this book. And it made me look even further. And I'll just say, like, I went to the Instagram and not my jam. Like, this type of stuff is just not my jam. It's very crazy to me that people will be censored for wrong think. Okay, I think that's a point that's really reiterated a lot, but we have to reiterate it more. Like, there's more censorship on wrong think and wrong opinions, but there's straight up, you know, PORN and like pubes and stuff like that being shown on this platform, right? That's, yeah. I mean, let me just say, I'm censoring all of this, but the Instagram is filled with a lot of this fringe, sub-fringe culture. And I went to his stories and equally had some sinister imagery. And there was one as a male that had, you know, this bunny helmet or whatever with holding a torch. And then there was this one story that's saved on his highlights where there was this man getting his chest carved and bloodletting, and they were like, you know, soaking up the blood with like a paper, and that was like art. But they called this QUEER communion. Okay. Now listen, like I say, I might not agree with the lifestyle, but I know adults are going to do whatever they want anyway. But those are adults, right? I don't agree with it, but those are adults. Now, what is QUEER communion? When I think of that immediately, I think of something ritualistic and religious. That makes sense. Not the Christian type of religious. I'm talking about the other side religious. Communion and doing those things, that's commitment. So, you know, I mentioned it that, you know, it's very funny to me that 𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘀 was very silent, wouldn't give an explanation to any when people were asking. And then all of a sudden, I think it was like a month, I think it was just last month, he actually did a interview with Vogue. And in this interview, he's basically talking about, you know, oh, people are calling me things that are, you know, just so hurtful, and I'm not those things. And I was so shocked. He even said in the magazine interview that he is never on shoots. You are the creative director of one of the most highly fashioned houses in the world, and you're not ever on shoots. I don't know, like, you guys can tell me, but to me, that is so hard to believe. I just can't believe that. That's my personal opinion. But you're once again, you're the creative director of one of the most highly acclaimed fashion houses in the world, and you're never on shoots. But Vogue, nonetheless, you know, they kind of let him into the water and, you know, tried to kind of fluff piece it, in my personal opinion. And what additionally becomes concerning from all of what we've explored today, you know, then Kering, the parent company of Balenciaga, they announced their multi-year partnership with the National Children's Alliance. And now what they say they do seems very good, right? We definitely do want more professionals in the field of helping children mentally, remedy themselves from that very dark thing that happened to them, right? But after seeing everything that I've seen, I still have a lot more questions than I do have answers, and even more questions for this partnership with this children's foundation. Now, my personal question is, did the National Children's Alliance look into all of these other lifestyles that these people are into? Like his brother and the association with that brand? Like, is this ever a question to them? Are they advising 𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘀 and 𝘠𝑚 that, hey, like, it's probably not the best idea to have associations and public, you know, exhibitions of these really sub-fringe lifestyles out in the open? Like, you literally have a hoodie with a 𝘏𝘠𝘬𝘦 on it, parading it, and then like all this satanic imagery. It just blows my mind. So anyway, guys, I just thought that I would bring that up to your attention. There are some additional things to dig on Vetements, but I thought the most surprising thing out of all of this was just like the 2020 mention of 𝘏𝑗𝑗 and them recognizing this. You have to understand, like, the alternative fashion world and the alternative fashion publications are a smaller community out of the fashion scene. So if this smaller publication is knowing this back in 2020, that 𝘠𝘠𝘠 and Lada are very close, then to me that's some evidence that they definitely work together a lot. And although they have never admitted that that was a causation of the whole Balenciaga fiasco, it just probes my curiosity even more. So guys, let me know what you think about all of this. I know that this was a lot to digest. Please go wash out your eyes. I apologize. Some of this stuff is hard to consume, but look, this is what we're surrounded by. This is what your future, your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, your future children, this is what they're going to be surrounded by. Okay, so you've got to know what's going on in pop culture and in the fashion industry and what they're trying to seep into, right? So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys so much. Hey, go follow me on Twitter and Instagram. That's where I post my digs throughout the day or as I find them. Thank you so much for your support. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Party time excellent, and Jesus loves you. Bye-bye.